So we have the one and the only Captain Cabinetz talking about why the gacha content is dead. Now, I don't believe so. I think we're more of in a dry period, and everyone's kind of just doing their own thing. It's not more of a gacha community. It's more of a individual communities for the individual games. There's not a lot of crossover at the moment, but let's see what she has to say about this situation.
No, gacha isn't dead, but the way people are consuming content has changed, and that's especially true a year on after the big release of Honkai Star Rail came out and really disrupted the scene in a big way. It's kind of ironic that there are so many gacha games for us to be playing in this day and age. In 2024,
And I gotta say about that, the amount of gacha games we have is utterly crazy. They just keep coming out, and it's not like there's a lot of bad ones, so you don't have to think about it. A lot of these gacha games that are coming out are very good. They're very good at optimizing your time, so you want to play them more. You can't justify, hey, I have to spend 5 hours in this game, so I can't play other games. It's more like, oh, I can pick up another game because I only spend 5 to 10 minutes doing my dailies unless there's events going on. So you'll pick up more and more games, and then you'll have about 7 gacha games you're trying to juggle. And then when events come out for those games, you basically have no time for anything else. The problem is there's too many good gachas, which I didn't think I would say, but it is. The only problem with it is, like I said, is all the good gachas, they're trying to stay in their own lane and they're not crossing over to the other games.
it really is the golden age of gacha. But why does it feel
Absolutely.
then that it's kind of quiet? Maybe it's just me and it's just the circles that I'm in, but I know there are a lot of content creators too who feel like people's interest in gacha overall seems like an all-time low. It's
Hmm.
always the same thing: do the story, grind for your weapons, grind for your ascension, grind for your levels, and then grind for relics. It's all the same these days.
Yeah, that is extremely true. There's not a lot of innovative gameplay when it comes to gacha games. It's pretty much the same old song and dance. No matter the actual gameplay of the game, you're still gonna need to get new characters. You're gonna need to upgrade those characters. You're gonna need to level break them, get their skills up. It's the same old song and dance, no matter what game it is, no matter how flashy it is, no matter the gameplay, no matter whether it's a turn-based game, open world game, instance game, it's all the same thing, which makes it really easy to get into the game. But when you're playing essentially the same game with a different skin every time, it gets really repetitive, unfortunately.
That's not how gacha has to be. It seems as though we're in this never ending cycle with modern gacha games, and everyone just seems to be a little bit tired of consuming content around it. That's not to say that the games aren't doing well or they aren't performing well. I mean, the revenue charts make it clear that these games are raking in lots of money, tens of millions of dollars, in fact. But it seems as
Mhm.
though the way people consume content around gacha games is changing. I think we can agree, especially.
I gotta say, I'm trying so hard to concentrate on what she's saying, but the hypnotic stuff going on in the background with Sparkle, it is throwing me for a loop. So I just had to say something about that. I was getting mesmerized.
Towards the beginning of the year, the community was more interested in drama than actually playing content about the game, and that's probably because there isn't actually a whole lot to really talk about when it comes to gameplay in these newer gacha games.
So I gotta say, when it comes to people enjoying drama more than the gaming content, it's more so they people love drama. People love exciting things. People love a change up. Of course, it doesn't really matter what space you're in. They're going to like drama. There's specific shows like Jerry Springer and everything that revolve around drama. Now, I think the reason why the drama blew up so much is because people were getting connected through these gacha creators, and they come to have like a kind of parasocial relationship with them. And then once they get into some type of drama, it becomes more relevant to them because it's not some random person that was put onto the TV show. It is more like something you've become connected to, you watch regularly, you consume their content all the time. It's almost like watching your friend get into drama. So it's more exciting for them to and more accessible for them to get into, because you're going to care more about something going on with your friend than you are going to be about someone across the states that you've never met or even know their name. So it just makes sense when you put it in that kind of perspective. Of course, they're going to like that a little bit more. Change up the monotonous gacha kind of environment and put in a little bit of a spice. But in this case, it's just the drama, like the Tonanatsu drama. People ate that up because it was so much going on. Now, I think it also definitely revolves around who the creator is that has the drama going on. If it's someone who people don't really know, of course, they're not going to care too much. They're probably going to think about it for a little bit. But if it's someone big like Tectone, that drama was some of the biggest thing. Everybody, even people outside of the gacha community, were talking about. So it's definitely going to prefer people they know and bigger creators. It's not going to just be anyone who creates drama.
Games. So instead, people gravitated to something more entertaining, which was shit talking each other on the daily, it feels like. And now people have become...
Which is always a fun thing to do. Embrace the shit talk. Even if you don't mean it, it makes things more exciting. It's like wrestling. People know that no one means it, but it's just fun to see it. It's fun to get hyped up about it.
I'm bored of that too, because it is the same Z-tier trash arguments made again and again. And we're even seeing content creators trying to force drama or arguments, debates or discussion, kind of just for the sake of it. I mean, let's be real, that whole MOC Zero Cycle stuff was the most forced argument I've ever seen in a long time.
Absolutely. The Zero Cycle thing, I think, is just people wanting to create something to make videos about. No one really cares about the Zero Cycle content. The only reason people care about it is the people who do Zero Cycle content. There are a lot of them who think they're better than everyone else because they can spend hours on hours on hours and hundreds of dollars to get the perfect relics and everything, and now they can Zero Cycle the game and play even less than everyone else. And it's a weird flex, but okay, I get it. I mean, I'm not going to hate on anyone who does Zero Cycles or anything for content like that. I personally don't enjoy it. I just like to do my best. I don't like to throw money at the game to where I get the best relics or anything like that. I just like the climb of getting better gradually with your characters. But I feel like the whole Zero Cycle thing was just blown out of proportion. They just needed some content. Of course, they farmed it for views, and more power to them, honestly.
So I thought I'd give my 2 cents on all the current top gachas that I play and give my feelings around them. So let's talk about Wuthering Waves first. I know everyone seems to think that I hate this game, but I really don't.
Fantastic
I really
game.
enjoy the gameplay of Wuthering Waves. It also lights up this like feel-good areas of my brain when I see cool flashy animations and attack patterns. It's a visual eye candy for me. It feels such a shame though that the vast amount of the actual fun content in the game is temporary. Because of this, it creates a sort of content vacuum for the game, especially noticeable in 1.3. regardless what you think about the story, whether it was your favorite ever or you thought it was mid,
Yeah.
it feels as though there is a bit of a content drought in the game. Maybe
Yeah, they are definitely having a content drought in multiple games at the moment. Like HSR, they're releasing only one 5-star this patch, and they're having some kind of monkey academy thing going on. I haven't done the story for it yet. And then for Wuthering Waves, they just released a whole new area and everything like that, but there's not a lot going on main story wise. It definitely feels like a end of a side quest kind of scenario going on in the story. Now, it was cool because we got to learn more about the main character and the shorekeeper and everything like that, but it really does not feel like it's going to be a focal point of the main story, like with Scar and everything like that. I am waiting for us to get back on track when it comes to that, but I totally get what she's saying. A lot of characters, a lot of things just don't seem very on track at the moment. It's a lot of side quest type stuff. So I can get where she's saying with it being a content drought just about all around right now.
this is just a me issue, but Wuthering Waves has definitely felt a lot slower in terms of progression than other gachas, especially for one that is really technically newly released. I feel the biggest
Granted that Wuthering Waves has a lot of stuff going on for it right now. They've released 2 different areas. Granted, they're not gigantic areas like the main continent, but they are still pretty good sized areas that come with mini boss battles and everything like that. But like I said, it just feels like a lot of side content. It doesn't feel like main content. So it just feels like it's a bunch of filler stuff, just trying to hold you over while waiting for the main stuff to come out.
Contributing factor to this is the long extended patch cycles, limited game modes that probably should be made permanent but just refreshed over time, and a Tower of Adversity endgame that no one has nice things to say about or really wants to do. Not to mention,
I personally, the only gripe I have about Wuthering Waves and the Tower of Adversity, I get why they implemented the energy system. I personally don't like it. Like, it takes so much to build up multiple characters that you like. I don't want to build random characters just to try and fill in different areas and everything like that. I want to build up the characters I like and have fun with. I don't want to be forced into building multiple characters that I don't want, which is what the Tower of Adversity feels like it's trying to push you to do. So I haven't been able to max it out and complete it just for the fact that I'm waiting for characters I actually want to build and teams I actually want to play, rather than build what I can now and try and force my way through it.
a lack of a second unique 5-star on the 1.3 banner really has made the whole patch feel quite slow. Personally, I can only assume they're putting a lot of eggs into their 2.0 storyline, and I hope they're utilizing their time well.
I am hoping
One thing
to.
Wuthering Waves does do really nicely is its visual storytelling. It's always the talk of the town when a new patch comes out. Again, whether you think the story is neither here nor there, visually it's very pretty to look at. It's definitely the best presented gacha game out of all of them.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, let me talk about Genshin Impact for a second. I did the first half of the 5.0 quest, and I'll be real, I could not bring myself to finish it. Even the free primos were not enough to convince me.
Man, no one can convince me that Genshin Impact is not going straight down the toilet. Even people who like to play the game can't stand to play it anymore.
The main offender to me was the introduction of the Pyro Archon. She's awful. Okay,
Oof.
Hear me out. She looks amazing. Her character design is badass. But her personality is the most boring, friendly,
Looking amazing
friendship
is not
magic type of shit. And it is not what I expected from the Pyro Archon. I expected someone who is a little more high energy, a bit hot-headed. I mean, this is the Archon that had to deal with war for so long. I expect them to be a little
How
more
else do you
rough
think they
around the
won the
edges
war?
than, you know, kind of like your typical Zhongli cardboard cutout type of personality that didn't really fit her look, style, or context. Maybe I have to keep playing to truly see the depth of her character, but right now, honestly, a good Archon really motivates me to enjoy the overall quest lines, and so far, I just really wasn't enjoying it. Natlan itself looks pretty good. I had
That's
a decent
unfortunate.
time exploring, but I hate having fun with traversal in this game is now locked behind a paywall. You almost need to pull some of the characters to have fun in this game.
Which I feel like is a big L. Having traversal mechanics tied to characters that you have to spend gems for is a huge L. They need to just give you equipment that you can just, I don't know, ride around on or something like that. That's
That or
bad
you
game
gotta
design, in
grab
my
yourself
opinion.
a
It's
Pokemon every
greedy.
5 minutes to have fun. I really wanted Kinich. He looked dope as hell, and his grapple was sick. But I felt a sense of disappointment when you find out his grapple is far less useful outside of Natlan. It's almost like the devs don't want you to leave this area, and you stop having fun when you do. I can't really comment on the end
I can see
game
it
anymore
happening, though.
because I kind of stopped caring. I do Spiral Abyss when I'm desperate for primo grinding, but apart from that, it's kind of the same as usual.
The
Don't
Genshin
get me
devs want you to have
on the
fun.
new theater
It
mode.
is
It really is.
proven.
How many cool 5 stars do you have? And that's pretty much it. And I think we're all in agreement of this. Now let me talk about my favorite man game, Love in Deepspace. I'll be real, you guys know I really like this game. I'm invested into the story and the limited 5 stars they pump out. But I'll be real, I've also been having issues here too. It feels as though
That game has been popping off like crazy on the charts. People are dying to have some male gacha game characters. They are thirsty for it.
now, Infold is just so focused on their monetizing and limited memory banners rather than give us updates that would make the overall game feel better for the player. And what do I mean by this? Maybe this is just me, but I am tired of the claw machine and the kiddie card game. I'm so over it. I actively hate doing it right now, to the point I stopped doing it for my weeklies. It would be much better if they introduced new modes, like some of the ones we've had from the recent events, and put them in rotation every few weeks, so at least we get something different to do for our weeklies. Along with that though, right now battling and fighting feels like an afterthought to the game. Abyssal chaos has essentially been abandoned. I no longer care about Tobias. I don't want
That's
to
rough,
find
buddy.
him. Quite honestly, he can stay missing. This mode had the potential to be something really cool,
Forsaking the
but
game.
again, it feels like an afterthought now. It's been so long and there are a lot of girlies who kind of like the battle system, so give them something fresh and new to work on. Hey, you make us pull for
The girls need love too, man. They need the male characters. How else would they survive without their husbandos?
cool solar pairs and myths, yet we can't really utilize the cool characters we have for new fighting battle game modes. It seems kind of unfortunate. I know we're getting the branched main stories, but they really feel like a step down, both in presentation and writing, that Infold has already kind of been going along. Zenless Zone Zero. I stopped
Oh, we
playing
had it.
because, quite honestly, the story kind of bored me. It was just kind of fine.
This
I quite
story is
like the
pretty mid.
gameplay, and I'll be honest, there's a lot of new content to get through since I left, so I am excited to pick it back up again and see.
The Zenless story is pretty mid, and I only pay attention to the characters I like. But the in-game gameplay is really up there. I love it. It's pretty peak. I didn't think it was going to be good when the first came out, but With it coming out and it getting harder and harder, I'm for it. I'm all for it.
If I was wrong, or maybe it's something I'll just drop completely forever. I hear the arcade mode is more fun than the actual game itself these days, and I don't think that's a huge
Arcade mode is pretty
compliment to the
boss.
game, but I'll have to try it myself to see if this is true. I don't really have anything else I can honestly say, considering I don't really play the game, apart from the fact they've been making the most banging trailers out of any gacha game right now. Like, that Bernice trailer had people going crazy.
It was possibly the best character trailer I've ever seen, besides Sparkles, of course.
And not to mention, the character animations are true peak. Some of the best 3D modeling and rigging I've seen in almost any game, I'll be quite honest. Now,
Their
let me get
emotions
to
are
Honkai
top
Star
tier.
Rail. I have been having the most fun playing Honkai Star Rail than any other gacha currently. 2.4 was great. 2.5 was a bit of a step down, but overall, I felt engaged. The current gameplay feels really fun.
Yeah, Honkai Star Rail's story is probably the best out of any gacha game at the moment that at least I'm currently playing. They've been keeping it up. They even the off events, the filler of the story feels nice and engaging. I really like the whole Hule dynamic that they just had. I'm interested in seeing if the Monkey Academy thing is going to be any good, but here's hoping it will be, so I don't eat my words after saying this. I think if there's one thing going on for Honkai Star Rail, it's how well they can tell story and the cinematics they can provide.
I know that's probably down to me playing the meta right now, but I can't help but have a blast when I play. There's just so much for me to get through currently. I took an extended break from playing between 1.6 to 2.2, a whole 6 months, so I've had a lot to catch up on, and I've been having a really fun time. While the storytelling in Honkai isn't something I particularly enjoy half the time, the actual lore itself interests me the most out of any of these gachas.
Absolutely.
I really like how the recent patches answered some of my questions from the past Lawfu patches and helped me round off some of the old characters. Endgame is noticeably difficult right now though. This is coming from a very much a casual player who has played since the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I personally, I wouldn't say I'm casual per se, but I'm pretty dedicated. I've logged in every day since I've started playing. I don't really have any problems with any of the in-game modes at the moment. Yeah, they'll be a little challenging, but I'll clear them. I'll definitely clear them.
I can totally see how if you grind this out every day and you have been since the start, it wouldn't be much of an issue.
Exactly.
But I really feel Endgame right now is made for the meta, which is there a surprise there? And you'll have a far harder time coming close to finishing the content unless you either have insane relics, which is total RNG, or you have the right characters for the job. Honestly, because of this, I'd say Honkai Star Rail is probably one of the least free-to-play friendly gachas out there right now, purely because of the tuning of their endgame content towards the meta.
I don't think so.
Much more than other gacha games. At least
I disagree with that. I feel like Honkai Star Rail is pretty generous with its players. Yes, there are going to be a lot of characters that are going to be good. Like Rappa, it's going to be centered around Rappa right now because she just came out. But that doesn't mean that you need to get her in order to clear anything. I'm not getting the character, and I'm still going to be able to clear anything coming out. You just really want to focus on a couple different archetypes of follow-up, dot, and break. And once you get a good team for each of them, you can pretty much just pick and choose who you want after that. You don't need to pick up every character that comes out to be relevant, that's for sure.
from my casual player experience. But I've had so much fun in Honkai that I even made a fresh account. And right now, I'm attempting my first Nuzlocke Honkai Star Rail run, where if a character dies, that's it, they're dead.
Oh my god.
Right now, I'm gearing up to fight Cocolia. We've had 0 deaths so far, and things are going really, really well. And honestly, it's
Honkai
the most
Star
fun
Rail.
I've had streaming a gacha game in a long time. I gotta say though, the fact that content creators are having to find their own unique way of playing these games, rather than the games themselves providing new game modes and ways for us to actually enjoy their game, is kind of concerning, especially for a live service game.
I get where you're coming from with that, but it is also a gacha game. They're not meant to have been played 24/7. That's why a lot of gacha creators, they pick up multiple gacha games to fill in those gaps. Like if there's something going on in Honkai Star Rail, you can play that until you're out of content for that, and then you can jump over and focus more on Zenless Zone Zero or Wuthering Waves, depending on what's going on there. There is a reason why it takes so little time to do the dailies, because it's not meant to be played all the time. Yes, there are hard content in the game, but eventually you will complete it all and just need to switch over to another game. That's just the name of the game when it comes to gacha games. It's not anything like Call of Duty where you can play it 24/7 and just keep doing the same thing over and over again and progress. Unfortunately, gacha games, they just want your money and as much money as possible. So they will make it so you can't do as much during the day. So maybe you use a little bit more money on energy so you can use more relics. Maybe you didn't get the relics you want, and now you want to spend more energy. Or you want to get more characters because you don't feel like you're progressing enough. It's just how gacha games work.
Which requires a certain amount of our time every couple of weeks. I appreciate y'all listening to my rant about,
Absolutely.
my problems with most of these
Loved listening.
gachas right now. I promise I'm really not a hater. This is simply me expressing some of the issues and reasons why.
I am in the firm belief that people who complain about things are the people who want it to change and get better the most. So complaining about something, saying me complaining about the Wuthering Waves Tower Adversity system, that's not me saying I think it's trash, this, that, and the other. I just wish it would be done in a different way. I personally just want it to be better and more enjoyable. I don't know if people prefer it that way or not, but I preferably would want it to change. That doesn't mean that I won't play it. It just means I want it to get better, if that makes any sense.
Why I think it's a little bit slow for some of them recently. Overall, I still enjoy playing them casually, and there's no doubt there will be something that triggers the masses to be interested again. I really feel like the release of Honkai Star Rail a year ago really boosted the overall scene to insane levels. We had far more people coming in to play gachas for the first time, and now after a year, everyone is used to the cycle. And there really isn't anything that's disrupted the scene or brought in new players recently. Like, I don't think Wuthering Waves has managed that to bring in a whole new players. I think it converted a lot from one gacha to another, but I don't think it brought new people in. But maybe we'll see another gacha game that brings an influx of a new brand and, crop of people who are interested in consuming content and will stick along for the ride. But right now, I think most people in the gacha space who consume gacha content are kind of tired of the same thing over and over again right now.
I can agree.
So,
I can definitely agree.
Gacha is not dead. What is dead is the way that people consume content around it. The games themselves are fine and they'll continue to survive.
This has been a fantastic
and
video.
Honestly, that's just fine. I appreciate y'all for listening.
It was a fantastic video. I agree with a lot of her points. There are some points I disagree on, but that's just how it is. I truly appreciate everyone for watching the video. Subscribe to Captain Cabinetz, just like I did. Make sure to support her content. I'm going to link her video in the description below in case you want to check out this video for yourself and support her. Thank you all for watching. I truly appreciate it, and have a good one. Peace.